theme of economic inequality resonate with so many voters today? It's because they know in their hearts that we're living through the greatest wealth grab in human history, a wealth grab designed by the rich and carried out by their political allies. Here are 10 things you should know about the 1% that explain what's going on today in our democracy and the urgent need for change. 1. Not so long ago, growth and prosperity were much more widely shared in this country. From the end of World War II through 1968, wages for workers rose along with their productivity. That led to the growth of a middle class of people who could meet their own needs, afford some luxuries, and raise and educate their children, often on a single working person's income. 2. Then something changed. Between 1979 and 2012, the productivity of the average American increased about 85%, but wages for the median worker only rose about 8% after inflation, and the value of the minimum wage fell 21%. If it had kept pace with worker productivity the way it did before the 1970s, our minimum wage today wouldn't be $7.25 an hour. It would be as high as $22 an hour. 3. Most of the nation's top income gains are now going to the top. In fact, since 1979, middle-class incomes have grown by less than 40%, and low-wage workers only saw their income increase by 18%. The top 1% had an increase of 275%. 4. Wealth inequality has returned to levels not seen since the roaring 20s. We've seen a huge surge in the wealth concentrated within the top 1/10 of 1%. 5. The 100th of 1%, a tiny group of people, controls a vast amount of wealth. 16,000 Americans have $9 trillion in assets. That's as much wealth as 80% of our nation's population, some 256 million people, and as much as 75% of the whole world's population. 6. A few billionaires are even wealthier than that. 536 people, the number of people who could fit into a large cocktail party in Manhattan, have a shared net worth of $2.6 trillion. That shows how even the top 100th of 1% isn't immune from its own inequality. 7. CEOs are taking up a bigger piece of the pie, and workers are getting less and less. In 1980, Fortune 500 CEOs earned about 42 times as much as the average or typical worker. Today, they earn 373 times as much. 8. The average American household is falling behind on wages. Between 1999 and 2014, the median household income in the United States fell by more than 7%. It's down to around $53,000 per year. 9. The average American owns less wealth than people in many other developed countries. People think we're number one at everything, but the median wealth of an American is about $34,000. It's more than twice that in Japan, Luxembourg, and the United Kingdom. And it's more than $10,000 above that in Norway, the Netherlands, Sweden, and Australia. 10. More than 1 child in 5 lives in poverty. That's a higher rate than in any other major developed country. By contrast, child poverty is less than 9% in the Nordic countries and Austria, and less than 10% in the United Kingdom. Overall, more than 46 million Americans live in poverty. Runaway inequality is the central issue of our time. It stifles democracy and leads to a more dangerous world. Of course, we should demand that political candidates advocate the right policies on social justice, foreign policy, and the environment. But even the best candidates will find it impossible to carry out the best policies in a society where so few have so many, and so many have so little. Here's the good news. Today's inequality was created by choice. That means we can make different choices. We can end the great wealth grab by strengthening collective bargaining rights, regulating Wall Street and large corporations, fixing our tax system, and renegotiating bad deals like NAFTA while blocking such deals in the future. Ending the great wealth grab will improve life for most Americans and make it easier to reclaim our democracy. Doing this will take a major shift, a political revolution, if you will. But it can be done once we understand the problem and accept the challenge of changing the system it created.